Just goes to show how quickly these short races can turn around. You're never quite safe, you're never over the line. Get a point on the board, it's important.
Yeah, very important, and I don't think he'll be able to believe that he's done it. I'm almost certain that Jack Jones will be absolutely kicking himself. A game that if Hossein Vafaei can win, he will almost certainly put himself in 3 wins out of 3 if he can win this match. Absolutely phenomenal player. Absolutely amazing in amongst the balls. Day in, day out.
30.
He's only made one last 16 other than the semi-final in Championship League in the summer, which was a group format similar to this. So a vast number of last 32s and last 64. That, 21. For a player of his standard, is just not good enough.
He should be at 26 in the rankings and one last 16.
Someone like him, he's been a professional since 2012, which he had a lot of trouble at the
27.
Start of his career where he was struggling for visas, and we're very fortunate to have never really had to deal with something that we take for granted. These overseas players, they right back up those rankings once again.
Yeah, you make a good point there, Stephen. It'd be interesting to know just how many. If the tour was all based out in China, let's say, and all the qualifiers, you had to go out there for months at a time.
Predominantly based in the UK, it's something, as I say, we've quite often taken for granted
40.
for so long, just having events on our doorstep.
$50.
Yeah, I saw Pang when he came in this morning. It can be very lonely, especially if results aren't going your way as well.
At least they can try and feel as comfortable as possible to allow themselves to perform to the best of their
57.
abilities.
Yeah, I was saying though, he's the sort of player that manages to find a pot. Not the best in the tactical department, but
Still only 30 years of age, Hossein. Yeah, of course, that all concludes tonight at the Alexandra Palace, which Gary Wilson, of course, will be playing. He takes on Sean Murphy in the opening round.
and it wouldn't surprise me if she wasn't refereeing.
What an interesting concept we've got. Tatiana will be refereeing and husband Ben will be commentating.
Well, well, that's a... Yes, very, very fortunate there, Gary Wilson. His long potting is the worst part of his game. Yeah, and even though he's 57 points in front,
And the fact he's down pretty quick tells us that this red passes.
1. Gary Wilson 1.
well, I don't know what Gary...
Well, I think I'm surprised as Gary is and gave no consideration to... Well, you can see the Browns still hovering in the jaws of the pocket.
7. Hossein Vafaei, 11.
Only to be able to tie the frame.
1.
And the black is safe as well, so...
He's one of these players, Gary, that he'll always carry on.
6.
I think probably down to the fact that that match he won against Zhou
7.
Yulong in the Scottish Open. He had no right to win that match, needing all those snookers.
Yeah, I don't...
Gary Wilson, 13.
Yeah, but not to be.
Frame
It was
conceded,
always
frame,
a tall
same
order.
with
But
five.
there is the concession from Gary, so it took a couple of bites at the... Of course, every game, every frame counts. Prize money on offer, £100 per frame in the group stages. There's playoffs coming up tomorrow evening where the top 4 ranked players from the group will progress to try and play off. You finish in the bottom 2, you are eliminated from the tournament. That's what all the guys are trying to avoid. Mark Selby and Ronnie O'Sullivan joining the event.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic for whoever wins this. Themselves guaranteed in the Champion of Champions for next season.
The 1 year list, there's always so much on the line.
Yeah, this looks pretty good. Oh, that's a very good shot. Around the angles to the green and brown. He played it well.
There was no intention to try and gain an advantage off the safety shot he played. It was all about just get that cue ball back to Bork.
Well,
And he's done
Gary
it again
Wilson,
there.
4.
That's not a bad result, really.
Well, that was a...
Well, hello. Hello. Those sorts of shots.
I mean, what are they paying you for, Steve, if you're not seeing them?
Just too advanced for me, that.
I saw that one.
Hossein Vafaei, 5.
Well, only the pace kept that out.
One.
Yeah, that's fantastic shot. Played with...
Always packed full of confidence. He's got such a lovely technique.
5.
Yeah.
So cue ball control is
11.
under a bit of scrutiny here to try and keep a close white, and you can see he didn't like that.
17.
Yeah, very tough shot made to look very easy. Yeah, that's a poor shot.
Hossein Vafaei,
Yeah,
22.
and it never looked in. It was always screwback shot on the red he played where he landed his cue ball on the side rail for the blue. From that moment on, he was chasing his cue ball.
1.
And not only that, but that misread has presented an opening for Gary and he's taken it.
Eight. $15.
Yeah, I was just about to say this is a pretty good chance, but
Gary Wilson, 21.
Cue ball was going. He was more than being hopeful there, Gary, trying to keep that break going, but
$7.
yeah, it hasn't quite. Well, that's it. Back down to the reds.
30.
what a brilliant shot that was from Hossein. The sort of shot. Just another example of the shots these players have in their armoury.
Shouldn't be a problem, but you never know.
19.
Just on this round off 2 cushions to make the shot a little bit easier. In the end, had to float it in a little bit. One of the awkward reds.
26.
Probably the one along the black cushion.
Yeah, so 34 points. In front with 35 remaining. To follow for snooker's
33.
required. Just felt a lot of tension and scrappy frames, but it's pink. All that Hossein needs, and in it goes.
$40. Hossein Vafaei, 40.
And Gary is coming back to the table purely because he's got a guaranteed snooker,
Frame
although
considered. Frame.
we thought
Hossein
it
Vafaei.
was.
saying.
Was Gary Wilson found himself 2-0 up against Jack Jones in his last time out. But Hossein Vafaei will be trying his hardest here to get a quick kill in this match. Is lost so far, so bang up against it in the very early stages of this event, Elliot Slessor. That is the penultimate match on table 2 as well, to take on Chris Wakelin in our final match here on table 1. Very likely to be another point on the board for Hossein, and with still a match to come, there's a chance he could win all 4 matches today. And
Foul. Miss. Hossein Vafaei, 4.
The referee, Tatiana Wollaston, wouldn't have been able to issue a warning because he could see a red full ball.
Once you've committed to what you want to do, you can't change your mind and say, yeah, because
A number of safety shots played, and
Gary hasn't even been near a long pot. Goes in, he might not get many more chances.
1.
Is there? Definitely there is.
8.
He's a worrying.
yeah, and worrying his own game today. You're absolutely right. Some of the balls that he's missed from distance, they're not just missing close.
14.
They're missing by in amongst them. These guys are never going to miss, really, but certainly Gary's long game today has not been there.
20.
Yeah, all of a sudden, this has turned into quite a little
27.
selection of stuns.
$34.
Should be okay. Just drop onto those 2 reds to hold for position.
It hasn't been. Very congested. Cue ball control imperative in a...
And you might wish he had done.
Hossein
is-
Vafaei. 1.
Career into that cluster by the black.
8.
But it looks as if it's the shot that he's decided to play, so...
$15.
Stun straight down to get on one of the others.
$21.
Wow. Again,
27.
played it very well.
Go in that right corner pocket. When it looked like he'd missed it, that red beneath the black won't bother Gary one bit. Just play on that at some stage
33.
without having to develop it.
34.
Slight obstacle.
$42.
Just did the maths quickly
50.
there, Gary. He knows that not so much the pot. Yellow to green to leave a nice angle, a natural angle to float in behind that brown. Is that
54.
cue ball to run a touch? Rosson using the cushion. Has done, just left himself a little further away from the brown.
57.
So
61.
and in it goes. What a brilliant clearance this has been.
66.
Can't imagine Hossein fancied losing the frame. He took the chance to bring all the reds into play as quickly as
70.
possible, and this has been the result. Keeps his hopes alive in this
79
match. He
in frame
trailed
goals.
Hossein Vafaei. As I say, these matches are never over, even at 2-0. There's always the outside chance of a...
Nothing to leave. Well, I say nothing to leave. Well, there's your answer.
4 shots later, he sat in his chair with Hossein pretty much with the balls at his mercy. The pack split he played was just absolute perfection. Caught the pack of reds nice enough to bring a number of
24.
balls into play and thoroughly deserves this chance now. Once again taking the chance to get into the reds and again couldn't have worked out any better.
Yeah, yeah.
40.
Only really a couple of minutes old. Unless he misses.
There isn't a lot of work to be done. Just needs to mind his business
48.
and not miss anything.
$55.
He just sees the patterns.
62. 63.
They're chasing down the highest break price.
71.
Yeah, £500 for the highest break. Currently, Hossein has taken
78.
these so well. What a break this has been. So fast and aggressive.
79.
As you say, he's one of these players that just makes the game. The point we make about the relatively poor season that he's having as he plays a
87.
pretty poor positional shot there. He's a much in no time at all. Perhaps this week could be the start of that as the brown fails to
87.
reach
Frank
its
and the
target, but a
match.
break of 87, more than good enough from Hossein. It looked for a minute there that Gary Wilson was going to be making somewhat of a comeback, and then we've pretty much blinked and the frame is over.